ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनः षष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति. An eternal portion of myself, Bhagavan says, having become a living soul in the world of life and abiding in Prakriti, draws to itself the five senses with mind as the sixth. From here on, Bhagavan is going to tell us one very wonderful thing, that how any one of us, the seekers, can find Bhagavan in the manifest world. So, Bhagavan had already told about his vibhutis in earlier chapters. So, can't we see him? No, we are unable to see him yet. So, are we going to see him in a particular form? So, these are some very confusing thoughts that are always hovering around in the minds of the seekers, no matter how much we learn from the scriptures, but we boil down to one question only: is there Bhagavan or not? Because our brains are trained by science, science and technology. So we have almost lost our hearts anyway. And then even to get the feel of divinity is so difficult. It has been always difficult in any period of time to come in this creation. Why? Because our birth is due to our desires. And man is always running after survival. So how can man think of anything beyond this world or beyond this manifestation? Even to get at a subtler thought itself becomes so difficult for human beings, because man is in the rut of day-to-day life, and day-to-day life is always confined to our conditioned way of thinking and limitations of our academics and our experiences, worldly experiences. They really stop us from imagining anything beyond or subtler. To go to subtler levels also, we need to be cultured enough or to uplift ourselves, to enlighten ourselves to wider fields. So, Bhagavan is trying to push Arjuna to the maximum possibility of how to have the feeling or the experience or the vision of immanence of the supreme reality. It's not only transcendental, but it is also immanent. That we forget, that if I can see the world, it is because of the substratum which is holding the world, right? Like if I can see a movie, it is only because of the white screen behind the movie. If we remove the white screen, what happens? We can't see anything. The projections are thrown on that white screen. So the screen, the substratum is so important, but we really don't pay any attention to it. In the same way, this projected world seems to be real because of our personal experiences. But actually speaking, if you think logically, then you will understand that there has to be something behind it which is holding it, otherwise it's not possible. The integration of the atoms itself is not possible only at the material level. There has to be something which is subtler than the matter, and that would have led the rishis to think beyond and find out the very source of this whole of creation. So here there is a way of explanation. It's not that it is the ultimate explanation, right? But this is one way of viewing at that Supreme which appears to have taken this form of this whole of creation. Mama eva anshah jivaloke jivabhutah sanatanah. This eternal ansh of mine, eternal little portion of myself. See, the portion also has to be eternal if it has come out of eternal. Now, eternal cannot be divided into many, because eternity in fact itself indicates oneness. There has to be one only. There cannot be two eternals, right? So it sounds not really perfect, and it cannot be perfect. The explanation can never be perfect about that perfect, supreme, all-pervasive, eternal reality. Why? Because our intellects and our words and our expressions and our experiences all fall short of perfection. But yet, some way it has to be explained. So, Jiva Loke Jiva Bhutaha. My own little portion in this world of beings becomes one individual. So, multiplied by whatever number you want to multiply. Like, being humans, we only look at human beings, but there are innumerable other beings also. We cannot underestimate the capacity of that one Supreme becoming many, and as many as possible at any level, of different categories, different levels and different forms. Manah shashthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. So here it becomes very specific that Bhagavan is actually talking about human beings. Why? Because the mind is involved over here. The 6 indriyas along with the mind. What happens when a portion of that eternity takes a particular form? It is also attracting the 6 senses along with the mind. So, as per its desire. So the question comes up, where does this desire come from? Right? So, can you ever explain about your dream, that from where this thought came into your mind? Not possible. Yes, you can begin from where you saw the dream, right? But from where did the first thought of that dream proper? It's not possible to explain. So, it could be as though that I, the ignorant individual, am imagining about the multiplicity of the world around because of my non-apprehension of that unmanifest myself, which I have left some time back, some long time back, and have come into this imagination of this dream world, and have started identifying with the dream world so strongly that I have started believing that it is real. Right? So no question, no point going back into finding out as to since when am I ignorant. It is somewhat like that, right? To find the source of desire is to go back into finding the source of my ignorance. So I ask you, since when are you ignorant? What a question. This is a ridiculous question. Why? Because you can't say ever since I am born. And you can't even say that before birth I was ignorant. You don't know what you were before birth anyway. Right? So you can't say, oh no, from yesterday I have become ignorant. Before that I was in knowledge. This is somewhat like that. So, let us not get into that ignorant way of asking a question about the beginning of the desire. Yes, it is told that there is no beginning of ignorance and there is no end to knowledge. You can't say that now I am completely in knowledge. Because a man of realization is in knowledge who will never say that I am in knowledge. And if a person says that now I am fully knowledgeable, that means there's something really wrong, because much is to be known for him. So this is what it is. This is a kind of philosophy. That the creation is a part of the whole. Whole is that reality, and a part of that is the creation, which is also mentioned, say, in a sukta, it comes, Purusha Sukta. What is that? Atyatishtat dashangulam. Purusha eva idagam sarvam. All this is nothing but that Purusha, the Supreme. But let us not underestimate its eternity or infinity. Why? Because it stands even beyond creation. It is there even beyond creation. So let us not limit that unlimited, infinite reality to creation itself. So the moment Bhagavan says that my portion, my little portion becomes the creation, so much remains unmanifest. It's like the tip of the iceberg, we can say. Not a very good comparison, because that is also it will fall very short, because we know that 1/10 of the iceberg comes up floating and the rest remains submerged in the water. But that is how maybe in Purusha Sukta, Atyatishtat Dashangulam, so 10 fingers more. No, it's not only 10 fingers more, but 10 indicates infinite. So this is how is this creation. Now, if this creation is a portion of that supreme reality which we attribute as Satchidanand, then what is all this creation? Nothing other than Satchidanand, right? So the seeker is not feeling that way. The seeker feels as though this is not sufficiently good. That is very good. That divine reality is Satchidanand. So the rishis have told us that you have to add 2 more things. Sat, Chid and Anand is Brahman, the Supreme. If you add to it Nam and Rupa, the name and form, then it becomes creation. So it indicates perfectly well that Satchidananda is there, but we have added name and form to it, which is bothering us, not Satchidananda. So do we have to invent Satchidananda? No. Do we have to discover Satchidananda? No. We have to reveal Satchidananda. So if I want to, as a seeker, I want to reveal Satchidananda. So what will I have to drop? I'll have to drop Nam and Rupa. Oh my God. If I drop names and forms, then what remains? Our experiences are completely conditioned only by names and forms. We can't even think of a relationship without name and form. We can't even think of looking at any object without name and form. If I look at an object about which I don't know, it's okay. But if I don't know the name also, then it's gone. I don't know about it at all. And forms are also so important for us. As though our senses find sense only in names and forms. And here the rishis say, drop that sense of yours. It is not sensible to stick to names and forms if you want to find Satchidanand. So you have to Therefore, meditate. How can I meditate when my mind is not restful? Therefore, I need some other kind of practice before I can meditate. What is that practice? That practice is Karma Yoga Sadhana and Bhakti Yoga Sadhana. Without karma, without bhakti, how can I reveal the Supreme? How can I meditate? If I cannot meditate, how can I reveal? How can I drop the names and forms if I am not focusing meditatively on the formless Brahman? So, therefore, we need to do. We have to apply what? The subjective technique of integration. We have to integrate ourselves, right? Subjectively. So, it's not talking about integrating a family or a society or the world, nothing. Self-integration, so important. My mind and senses are my creation. It makes very clear, right? I as an individual Jiva. What is this Jiva? Jiva is a combination of spirit and matter here. Because the consciousness or the supreme conditioned consciousness, we can say, has conditioned itself and now is residing in the matter and has developed these senses and mind. So it is overlapped with it, or we can say it is holding on to it, and that is the conditioning. And therefore this particular combination of matter and spirit as an individual is individual Jivatman. And so also each and every individual is, it is as though from a mountain of mud we have made so many pots. Hopefully they are not empty. They could be empty pots also, but some stuff is there, of course. And what is that stuff? That depends upon the kind of identification as an individual Jivatman, with whatever kind of identification I like to live, that kind of identification I develop. And that kind of objects are again matter of attraction for my senses, which are made up of my identified tendencies, the combination of sattva, rajas and tamas. So it is all a drama of an individual and then collectively of many individuals put together. What happens when this spirit, the conscious spirit, leaves this body? Yes, that we have seen, or maybe we have heard, if not seen. What? That the body lies dead at some point of time. So, how does this happen? How does this Jivatman travel from one body to another? That is the philosophy. Vedanta says that it is not one life. We have many more lives behind us, and we have many more lives in front of us if we are not ready to drop the identification with names and forms. So continue. You will get many, you will be blessed with many more lives. So, but what happens? Do we come to a body? Do I acquire as a Jeev? I acquire a body with clean slate, or do I carry something, some baggage with me? So it seems that I carry some baggage because we are not identical. Spirit is identical in all of us. Matter doesn't matter because it's all depends upon how the spirit identifies. So the spirit must be having some kind of baggage carried forward. You slept in one kind of having some kind of characteristics, you slept, then definitely those characteristics become the basis of your kind of dreams. And then you wake up with the same characteristics inbuilt in you, inherent in you, and therefore you live that kind of life. So, of course, death is not death is not termination; it is transition. So, when the soul is transiting from one body to another at any point of time, definitely it is carrying forward some baggage. And now that I have known that I am a part of that whole, then wouldn't I like to enhance my divinity? Wouldn't I like to evolve, elevate my standards? So, a portion of gold cannot be less valuable than gold. There's a very beautiful shloka for that matter. It gives me so much of happiness that, oh my God, I never realized that I'm a part of you. And if that is it, then I must be having those qualities which I worship. But at present, I don't find them in me. So let me do something about myself, purify myself. What will bring me to your level? Okay, that can be a kind of encouragement for the seeker. And it's a very good thought. It gives a lot of encouragement for the seeker for self-improvement. That how can I, being a part of that supreme reality, the pure self, be so downtrodden, so ignorant, so limited and conditioned, so selfish, so self-centered, so much egoistic. That supreme is all encompassing. It's spreading all around without any boundaries, without any conditioning. A part of it cannot be that selfish. That's a good way of contemplation. Mananam. So, on the seat of meditation, one can think of being a portion, a part of that supreme. That spark, the life spark in me, O Lord, is your brilliance, your spark. Very nice thought.